So let's start with a bit of a vector review. In this question here, I'm giving you two force vectors, a force 1 going all in the negative x, and a force 2 going all in the negative y. And then I'm going to add a little something to this and tell you that there is a resultant vector, I don't want green, resultant vector that goes all in the positive x direction. Yeah, I want red. So we have something, a resultant vector that looks like this. And now I'm going to ask you, what does the third force vector look like if my resultant vector looks like this? And this really does just kind of break down into looking at things as far as their components go. And so what I suggest is looking at this in terms of all of the x and the y. So first I note that it's going positive x, which means that the resultant vector has to be big enough to overcome this negative x. So it has to have something that's at least going beyond the resultant itself. And I should have drawn these to scale. And so I know it has an x component that has to be going out, like say something like that, and it's going to balance out then, take this piece out from the F1 vector. Now I need to look at it and think, okay, so all of my y component went away. So I've seen my x component on this result, or this third force vector. Now I need to think about what the y component would look like to make all of this go away. And the kind of nice thing about this all being on the same axes is that tells me that this y component has to be completely equal and opposite the magnitude and direction of this vector here. So this would be my force 3x component, and this would be my force 3y component. So then when I want to look at the vector itself, it's merely drawing my vector in, my hypotenuse of my triangle. So this would be force 3. So again, the trick here is to look at what your two vectors are doing. Think in terms of components. Now, truth be told, once we start putting these guys at an angle, you've got to start probably throwing in some math. Or you can look at them, if you can visually kind of scale them, you know, if I have something that's slightly off axis, draw in what my x and my y's would be, then I can start visually seeing how they would add together without doing any math, and at least know what direction it's going to go. So hopefully that helps you remember something about your vectors.